If the grid shuts down and you don't have any preparations for it, you have nothing.
I'm out here creating my own safety net with my husband and my dogs. We're set up to just kind of coast along.
In the event that crap hits the fan, we're not going to share all our food, and we'll defend it to the death.
America was founded by people who want to live life their own way. And that spirit of freedom continues today as more and more Americans are deciding to move off the grid and forge their own path to happiness. But it's not easy. In the SEAL teams we learned early on, it's all about the team. There's no room for an individual. Ryan Lipinski and Addie Leeman, they have their strong team. And this is how they will meet the challenges of unplugging in America and achieve their dream of living free. Fly into Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, travel north alongside the Allegheny River for nearly 60 miles, and you'll arrive at the small town of East Brady. Population, a little over 1,000. Wind your way down a dirt road, and you'll encounter a small cabin tucked into the countryside. For Ryan Lipinski and Addie Leeman, this is home.
Self-reliance, I wouldn't call it dead, but forgotten. There's still a lot of people out there that do things on a daily basis and don't realize that what they're doing can translate into the off-grid life already. And they haven't opened that door and stepped through yet.
There's a lot of people out there that seem to give you the weird look if you say off-grid, but they were brought up into that lifestyle of, I push this button, I flip this switch. Entertainment happens, heat happens, food happens. I don't have to do anything. I just put it in the microwave and it's in my stomach, instant gratification. That's not my American dream. I prefer something different.
One of the reasons why I'm off-grid and prep is because you never know what kind of disaster is going to hit. A major storm, earthquake, whatever, anything you could possibly imagine with nature is eventually going to happen, but I'm not gonna have to worry about power and water and food because I've got it.
There are people out there that don't want to think about it, so we just don't, and we'll just trust in the system, and it'll take care of me. I'm not that trusting.
People who are on grid right now, they are definitely rolling the dice and playing with not just their lives, but the entire planet's life. Because of the industrial age and the on-grid living and everything else, they're destroying all life on Earth, animals, plants. Fire by friction. I don't want to be a part of that. I've taken myself, my wife, out of that situation. We're not destroying the planet. You people are destroying it. It's your fault, not ours. And then the most important reason why we went off grid, we're I believe, on the verge of World War III. Our government is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. We can't figure out what's going on with Iran and Russia and China, and everybody's got all in this big uproar with the nuclear power. You know, there's been talk about going to war over it. If that happens, that's World War III.
There is definite discontent out there. You can only deal with so much discontent before something goes wrong. And I don't want to be sitting there going, well, poo, what am I gonna do now?
If you're on the grid, you know, and the United States gets attacked, you know, what are you gonna do? I'm out in the rural areas, I'm not on grids. I will be prepared for it.
Ryan and Addie have simple needs. A private, self-sufficient piece of land is all they need to be happy.
We have a total of 10 acres, 7.5 acres of hardwood forest. The reason we picked this area is the trees. We need to be able to grow trees while we're using trees. So 7.5 acres of the woods, pretty much, it's a good balance and it should help us out.
I grew up on 10 acres with woods around us, so I love getting out into the wilderness. That kind of just followed me through life.
I've always been into the outdoors, camping, hiking, mountain climbing, that kind of stuff. And living in the woods, camping every day for the rest of your life. That's how I look at it. The second reason why we picked this area is because of the water source. We have 3 springs and the creek that runs all year round. We can't do anything without water, so we fetch our water every day.
So here we go. I take 3-liter bottles. I cut one to have kind of a funnel shape, and then there's another one that's got like a hole in the side so that the funnel can pour into that one, and I put that at just the right angle into the spring for that to catch the water coming out and to trickle down into the other one. We are intending eventually to set up a system with pipes and a ram pump maybe to actually take myself out of the equation where the water comes to the cabin by itself, but currently it has me as an assistant.
Adapting to this lifestyle is challenging for both Ryan and Addie. But Ryan is an old hand at overcoming hardships.
As I was a combat medic in the United States Army, when I joined the military, I took an oath to the Constitution. Everybody who ever joins the military, they don't swear an oath to the president. They don't swear an oath to the federal government. They don't swear an oath to the state government. They swear an oath to the United States Constitution. That's why I have an assault rifle. It's to defend the Constitution. And God forbid somebody tries to take my constitutional rights away.
Coming up.
If the pole falls, the turbine's history.
And later.
If that tree goes and messes up the roof, we are rather cold.
Ryan Lipinski and his wife live off the grid in the wooded hills of northwestern Pennsylvania.
Come on, breakfast.
Our cabin is 12 feet wide, 20 feet long.
Bradley, come on, let's go get breakfast.
It's 2 stories tall. Each floor has 84 3/4 headroom and all the comforts of home. Hello, welcome to my homestead. Come on inside. This is our kitchen area. We are still under construction in here, so it doesn't look like much, but this is where we purify our water, store our dishes, and stuff like that. This is our food pantry. All of our foods that we eat currently are stored here, and over here we have our snacks and spices and stuff like that. At the moment, this is also our ammunition and weapons cleaning storage. We could go 6 months easily without having to do anything. And then if we actually went out hunting and stuff like that, we could probably make it a total of 9 months. With water, we're unlimited.
Living off the grid, of course, means no indoor plumbing.
Here we have our composting toilet. It's a waterless toilet. All you do is your business in here, and then when you're done, you just take a scoop of sawdust out of here and just cover your stuff inside, close the lid, and it's good to go. When the internal tank is full, you pull the cover off, and we carry the tank outside and put it in a compost tumbler. And then when it's done composting, we can take it and spread it out through the forest, and there's nothing to worry about. We do not use a septic system. The shower system is the only thing that has runoff water, and that's called gray water. That water goes into a pipe, drains out into a 300-gallon tank. From that tank, it goes into a kiddie-style swimming pool. That swimming pool houses wetland plants that filter out the water and evaporate it back into the atmosphere.
The most efficient wetland plant for filtering water is the common cattail. Filled with these abundant plants, Ryan's kiddie pool can filter 3.2 gallons of water per day. Today, the city of Columbia, Missouri filters much of its municipal water supply into a giant cattail pool.
Our main source of our electricity is from our solar panel system, and our second source of electricity is from our 600-watt wind turbine. This power center here is where all that energy comes into and gets converted into the storage batteries. Currently, we're running mostly on a DC system for all of our lights, and the only thing we have on AC power right now is just our power tools and anything else we need to.
Their electrical needs may be minimal, but winter temperatures average in the teens. So keeping the heat on is a matter of life or death.
Hey Ryan, we've got hot water. It should be good for oatmeal.
Okay. We heat our cabin with the wood stove, and it's our sole source of heat. It's also the only way we cook.
So, we're gonna hit some chores today?
Well, we have the 2 trees on the side of the house that need to come down because it's
That dead one.
Yeah, there's 2 dead ones. We don't want them falling on the cabin.
Right.
When Elizabeth is showing up here to help us with
Right.
doing that stuff, and then
Right.
Jim is
Extra
going to come
hands.
over to help us too.
Right. We haven't stepped away from society. We haven't stepped away from having
We're
friends.
still on the social grid.
Yeah, we're not just hermits out there.
Ryan and Addie have chosen an unconventional lifestyle, but they still like the old-fashioned conventional rules.
I tend to have the more kind of soft, squishy, dealing with living things roles. My husband is more of the, I know how this needs to get done. Hand me the tool and I'll make this work. So I let him lead.
We had an ice storm come through. Because there was no wind, the wind turbine didn't rotate, and the blades just kind of sat there stagnant. And because it sat there stagnant, it allowed the rain to get down into the joints, and then when the temperature dropped, it froze. So we have to take it down and get the ice out of the joint so that propellers could spin with the wind to generate the power. Just don't drop it because it's like $1,000 worth of equipment. Yeah. Got it? Mm-hmm. All right. If the pole falls, the turbine's history. And so we have to be very careful about how we bring it down. We can't let that pole bounce because the pole is in sections. You gotta make sure it doesn't build up ice on it or it will unbalance it. The best thing to do would be make some kind of skirt, like a rubber skirt to go around the joint. Then when the rain hit it, it would just fall off and it would still allow it to rotate. This is an inner tube from a bicycle tire that I just cut. Instead of throwing away a flat bicycle inner tube, we save them. If it was still round like this, you can cut them into rubber bands. Or if you need to make a skirt for something like this, you can split them in half. You know, wrap it around to make a skirt, which when it's on there, it'll still spin freely, but protect the joint.
Living off the grid means improvising with what you have on hand. Old bicycle inner tubes could have countless uses, from better gun grips to rubber shoelaces.
This should keep water and rain from splashing into that joint and freezing up. Okay, let go.
Moving out of the way. Poor thing.
Doesn't seem to hinder it. Now that we've got the skirt on it, we're gonna go up and turn the wind turbine back on and make sure that the wind will rotate without any trouble.
Woo. That looks good.
I have every confidence that that'll solve the issue.
One crisis has been avoided, but Ryan and Addie, they're not out of the woods yet. That's because the woods themselves pose a threat.
This tree here is pretty much dead. So if it falls during a windstorm, it's gonna fall straight onto the cabin.
In the SEAL teams, we have a saying, you take care of your gear, and your gear will take care of you. And this has been taking care of me for years. I've used it to anchor shelters, I've used it to dig, I've used it to cut dressings for injuries, and of course, as a weapon. For Ryan Lipinski, a simple knife is also one of his most important tools, and one he has to master as he struggles every day to survive off the grid. Today, Ryan and his wife, Addie Leeman, need to figure out how to use other tools, because if they don't safely remove a dead tree like this one, it could destroy the entire homestead they've worked so hard to create.
This tree here is pretty much dead, dying. If you look way up under the top, you can see some of the larger branches are starting to break off, and we've had a lot of them fall onto the cabin. It's better to take it down now before it completely dies in the lower trunk, because our predominant wind comes from my left here and blows this way. So if it falls on its own during a windstorm, it's gonna fall straight onto the cabin. So the idea is to hook up a winch to the tree and pull it over towards one of the bigger trees and then chop it and try to get it to fall out into the woods.
Living unplugged can take a toll physically. Ryan is already at less than full strength.
I got injured while I was in the Army, and I shattered my spine in a couple of places. Okay, coming on. I have a hard time doing a lot of things. However, I have a degree in health education, and I know firsthand that a lazy person who's injured just gets more and more injured. And the only way a person can get healthy is to stay active. Being off-grid gives me the ability to stay active. Therefore, I'm in less pain and have the ability to do things my way rather than society's way.
Watch your shoulder.
Society does provide critical services, but living off the grid makes it a lot harder to get to them.
It's a ways to the nearest hospital here, probably a 45-minute drive if I just got out in my vehicle and started now. Now, if I pick up the phone and call for help, that means that they have to receive the call. They have to decide who's coming. They have to get here without getting lost. They have to then get out of their vehicles and make their way down to where I'm at. Maybe I'm not in the cabin. Maybe I'm off in the property somewhere. So if something happens here, we can kind of put a hold on the damage getting greater because I am first aid trained. My husband was a combat medic in the Army. He's got buku amounts of safety training and stuff.
There we go. So I have every confidence in my wife of being able to treat me. And I know she has every confidence in me being able to treat her. It'll hold all the tight tension, more pressure on this than what any of us could actually hold. Since we don't have our Jeep here with a winch, this is what we got to do with. Hey, if everything goes right, we don't lose our cabin today. We'll put a big V-notch right here, and then a nice slice in right here slowly until it starts to fall that way. And then we'll just give it a little nudge and hopefully it'll work. We have a ton of pressure on that green rope pulling it that way, and a couple friends with another rope pulling it that way, so it should work.
Friends and wife.
Any miscalculation with the chainsaw, and Ryan could send the tree tumbling into the cabin.
If that tree goes and messes up the roof, we are, until we can fix that, rather cold. I'm nervous. I'm just gonna smile and nod, because that's how I handle stress.
It's falling the way we want it to, just the upper branches are supporting on this one. So I might have to take down the one next to it. So that's gonna be 2 weeks of firewood there, 3 weeks.
Ryan and Addie are successfully living in isolation, but they may not always be alone.
We're not going to share all our food, and we'll defend it to the death.
Ryan and Addie are prepared to handle the dangers Mother Nature might unleash, but they're also prepared to deal with the potential threat posed by their fellow man.
In the event that crap hits the fan, people from the big cities, they're gonna come straggling through. Somebody's injured, we're gonna help them. We have an unlimited water source as long as it's not contaminated. So the water's gonna flow into the creek whether we're using it or not. So we're willing to share that kind of stuff.
Where are we going, Ralphie? Unless somebody comes here looking for a fight, we're not gonna go out looking for a fight. We're set up to just kind of coast along.
But if people can't survive, then they get together and they leave in what's called hordes. And then they'll move through. We can't do anything for a horde. The best defense is one that you can avoid the offense. So if you can make it look like the place has already been ransacked and that nobody's there, and meanwhile we'll be hiding out somewhere. We're not going to share all our food, and we'll defend it to the death. Because if you steal all our food, then we're gonna die. So we might as well die defending it. Guns provide protection for us. I have a shattered spine. My wife, she's very strong, but what's she gonna do? 2, 3 guys come busting in the house.
Do as much damage as I can, but there's only so
I'm
much
not gonna be able
damage
to
I can
defend
do.
myself. But if she had a gun, while they're kicking in that door, bang, 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 they're dead. Somebody comes onto your property, you give them every possible chance to leave, and the gun is the last resort. And when it comes to defending yourself, it's not shoot to injure, it's shoot to kill.
I spent half my life carrying one of these. This was the tool of my trade, and this is the reason I'm still alive today. So when somebody asks me, should I get a firearm to protect myself, I always ask the same 3 questions. Number 1, are you going to be willing to learn how to use it and be proficient with it? Number 2, are you going to be able to safely store that weapon, especially if you have children in the house? And then number 3, if time comes and you have to use this weapon, will you be able to pull the trigger? And if the answer to any of those questions is a no, then you need to think of another option. Now, Ryan and Addie, they've chosen this way of life, and they're prepared to defend what they've worked so hard to build. They're living exactly the way they want to live, and that is worth everything.
Some people just don't want to leave the safety net that they feel they have around them to make their own safety net. And so I'm out here creating my own safety net with my husband and my dogs, and that's what I'm comfortable with trying.
If the grid shuts down and you don't have any preparations for it, you have nothing. If the grid shuts down, we don't even know. So what? The grid shut down, big deal. We're not connected to it. We just go on every day chopping our wood and fetching our water. It doesn't faze us at all.